Hello, everybody. This is Bob Kingpin Eres, along with my podcast partner over there, Brian Cano Sr. And this is a very special edition of D-Backs Weekly Inside the Game. And this is the recap of the Wild Card series. And wow, what a series, huh, Brian? I mean, it's supposed to be a 2 out of 3. Well, it was 2 out of 3, right? And
Yeah.
all the games played in Milwaukee. And Brian, go ahead and kick it off, man, because I'm so excited today.
No, Bob, I'm right with you, man. And we spoke about this a little bit before, during, after, and middle of the games. The last two games over the course of about 28 hours, the D-backs provided me with a whole postseason worth of excitement. Every pitch mattered. From the first pitch to the last in both games. As far as I'm concerned, baseball's back. I was really excited. The games went a little over 3 hours, but within those 3 hours, within the scope of those 3 hours, so many special things happened. And to have our guys, the D-backs, come out on top and beat a really good team, it made me feel really good. And as a fan and as a reporter, I'm excited because, Bob, we get to see the D-backs again at Chase Field.
Yeah, we do. We do. Another game.
The beat goes on, man. You and I get to go back and we'll be there for the next game. But yeah, let's talk about the games themselves, because I thought, game one, 6-3 win. The D-backs go down 3 runs after 2 innings. I'm thinking to
Yeah,
myself, oh my God, Fat's out there. He's giving up the long fly balls. He's throwing up fat pitches, you
right.
know. And then and
Exactly.
then and then of course Carroll, hits this 444-foot monster over
Right.
the fence, and it brought me to life, man. What did it do for you, Bob? I mean, what were your take?
It was incredible. The Corbin Carroll home run. I mean, turned it around. Fott is just. I'm sorry. I've been saying it all year. He's still not ready,
Right.
and the Diamondbacks had no choice because they really didn't have anybody else to go out there. So virtually it turned into a bullpen game, right? So we'll talk about that. And our bullpen was lights out, but we'll talk about that. But the Corbin Carroll home run was incredible. I mean, he pounded that ball. I mean, he had a few hits in the game. He had that 2 run home run. Um, it was just an exciting game if you're a Diamondbacks fan. I'm sure if you're a Milwaukee Brewers fan, in part, and I don't know what their attendance was, but like I said, remember we had talked about what we saw down in Tampa Bay, that the stands were empty, and I said, it won't be that way tonight. And I know that was the other day when we had talked about that. I said it'll be packed in Milwaukee, and it was 99.9% Brewers fans,
Oh
and
no,
they are good fans. The the the
it's a friendly,
Diamondbacks,
hostile environment. It's a friendly, hostile. And I'm going to share with you. Shout out to
right?
Darren. Darren, my buddy Darren, sorry, out in Wisconsin. We were on the phone last night. He was giving me some back and forth with during the game on text, uh, but he's a true Brewers fan, and he was being realistic with what's going on. And we talked a little about Corbin Burns in the first game, and then Woodruff being out, but Peralta, their third starter,
Peralta's a
he
good
was on
pitcher.
fire last night. I mean,
He
but
he's a he's a
he was
good pitcher.
phenomenal. Kept
He's
the D backs off at bay for like four and a third. But anyway, going back to Burns, the game one starter, Marte ripped him and got us the lead after Corbin Carroll's home run. And I said to myself, here we go again, deja vu all over again, where the D backs
Well,
lit,
actually,
lit him up.
yeah. Well, actually, that Corbin, it was down. They were down 3-0. Corbin Carroll hit a 2-run homer, and Marte's was the tying one. The
Tying, there you
line,
go.
I mean, a line drive shot. I mean,
Shot.
it was just a line drive,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
108.2 miles an hour off the bat is what I remember. I
right,
remember that. It was one of the hardest hit balls of the season.
right, and one of the good things about this series, I'm glad to see that Marte is coming around.
Yeah.
Whatever happened with the 4-game losing streak at the end of the season there, is not carried over.
Yeah.
This team is taking it like they did when they first opened up, and it reminds me of when they first opened up, Brian, in the beginning of the season, that they were running, they were hitting, they were engaged, and I think Torey Lavello said it best last night. Of course, he swore a little bit in the locker room. I don't know if you got to see any of that
Well,
stuff,
I saw a little bit.
but one of the things that he said is this team is very connected, and he said a connected team is hard to beat. And I think what he means by that is they're all out there playing for each other. They all want to do well, and it was kind of interesting, And I know we're trying to talk about game one, but I have to talk about game two. In that ninth inning, when Seawald was out there and Perdomo made that diving, I'll call it a stop. He tried to catch it, but it popped out of his glove. But it was like Marte at second was like, get the ball. We can get this guy out, right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty exciting.
No, the
So
D-backs were definitely playing to the level of, again, we talked about this in previous podcasts where I kind of questioned whether or not the D-backs are giving giving 100% effort, behind Lavello, even despite Lavello's obvious love for the team, his rah-rah speeches and everything that they've been doing, where they're working hard for the guy. And, whether or not I understood this or not before, I'm understanding it better now. The team is built for October. This team is built for playoff baseball. And what I mean by that is I don't think there's a turn off and on switch, but when they're turned on, they are, like you said, like Lavello said, very dangerous. They do a lot of things well, and they were really able to illustrate that over the course of the last two games against a really good team. Now,
yeah,
you take Woodruff out of the mix, and the Brewers still got beat with two of their best pitchers that they have.
yes,
And it
yes,
wasn't that the D-backs backed into it. They beat them. Moreno got him the lead in the first game with a monster shot. Okay.
right.
And then the very next day, Moreno's out there minding his own business and he gets assaulted, basically. I mean, he gets hit in the back of the head with a no offense. I mean, I'm a little disappointed, but that the long backswing isn't, you're not able to contain that to the extent that you're not, hitting the catcher. But anyway, poor Moreno, thank goodness. I think he's out of concussion. He's not going to go into concussion protocol, last I heard, but you never know. And I'm glad to hear that he was doing well last night at the end of the game. But he's a huge part of what we're doing here in Arizona, right, and has been all season. But to see him go down in game two, and then the D-backs still rally around him, rally around the coach, and play to the level of expectation was beautiful. I love baseball. And when it works in your favor, and again, my buddy Darren was feeling the effects of what it feels like to be on the other end.
Other side, right.
And you and I have been there with the team this season.
And what was his feeling? I'm kind of curious to hear what the feeling would be of a Milwaukee Brewer fan, of a team that's won their division now, and I don't know how many years in a row that they've won the Central, but it's a number of years as well. It has to be two or three, I believe, that they've actually won the division. Yeah. So what was his feeling on this? Was it, did he give the Diamondbacks credit, or did he just think that his team didn't live up to expectations?
It's interesting you say that, because I'll go as far as speaking for Darren on this one. I know him very well. I've known him for many, many years. He has respect for the team, and that must be a across the board sentiment from not just him, but many of the Brewers fans. They've seen this team play at their best. So in the beginning, we're talking, and I was just noting how Peralta was on fire, and it was tough for the team to overcome that. And then, with Gallen out there not really finding his spot early in the game, giving them that 2-run cushion,
first inning,
I'm thinking, you know what, they got a shot to beat the D-backs here. But then when things started going the other way for the D-backs, Darren's tone didn't change much, but some of the wording, like, this team is known for coming back,
right.
A text. And I said, yeah, they're called the answer backs here in Arizona. The Bert Hume coined them there. And, so he was aware of that and remembered that pre-rally yesterday. So I think that right now there's an aura around the team that suggests that not only are they going to be in the game, but even if you get a couple run lead on them, they have the ability to come back quickly. Put 4 runs on you in one inning, All they got to do is get the first two batters on base, butt them over second and third, get 2 base hits in a row, and before you know it, you turn around and the D-backs have scored 4 runs.
Right.
That's the team that is dangerous. And with that being said, I think Darren recognized that last night. And when the team went down, when the Brewers went, God bless them, they were running out of pitching already in game 2. The D-backs worked them. And with that being said, I think the D-backs were getting at their pitching, and I think that the writing was on the wall going toward the end of the game. And it got close at the end, of course, with Sewald. When doesn't it get close with Sewald in the game? But I think that the Brewers fans, as far as I know, and from Darren's sentiment, is that the D-backs earned the win. It wasn't surprising to see the D-backs win 2 in a row. I think it's disappointing as a Brewers fan to see that happen. But again, they've had some pretty unfortunate. They had a string of bad luck with some injuries going into the playoffs over the years. Yelich, this year Woodruff. They had one of their closers was out with a broken hand a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago. But anyway, I'm not going to say the D-backs. I think they played well, and they're rallying right now. And we could talk a little bit about some of the stats, but that's not what we do. I thought it was important to talk about the heart, and that's what we talk about. And they are really exhibiting tremendous heart right now. Tremendous.
Right. And what did I say a few days ago before this series started? You never know who's going to be the heroes, right? And number one, in the first game, Evan Longoria made a couple great plays within that great catch to double the runner off second base to end an inning.
Oh yeah.
And I even had mentioned you don't know who will be the star of the game. And what name did I say? If you go back, Alek Thomas. Alek Thomas put the Diamondbacks on the board first yesterday with a home run.
Yeah.
And and here we go again. We called it, that you never know in playoff baseball who's going to be your hero. You don't know. Now, what's going to be very interesting, okay, is hopefully as we go forward, hopefully Moreno is okay, because Gabby's a great player and he's a great hitter. Okay. Who will they play at third base? Are they going to remain with Longoria? Longoria's bat, he hasn't contributed anything with his bat in the 2 games. His glove, yes.
Yeah.
But you have to remember his age. And how old is Longoria now? Is he 37?
He's 37, but he's a week, I think he's a week short of 38, a few days short of 38.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's still that to me is still our iffy position, right? Because all year we haven't got a lot out of that position. Longoria came in, he's hit some home runs, but that to me is a position as we go farther and into the future that we need to shore up. I'd say shortstop is solid. And the thing what they might do though, if Lawler ever comes around, I'm sorry to digress and go a little bit farther and look at this. If Lawler comes around, and he's going to have a full spring training now, if he comes around and he becomes their shortstop and he can contribute a bit with the bat, Perdomo goes to third right now. Okay. And Lawler is at shortstop. Marte's still at second. And of course, Walker. What can you say about Walker? Walker got drove in those 2 extra runs in game 1.
Yeah.
This guy makes you forget about Paul Goldschmidt. And I said that earlier before we started originally. He's contributed. He's contributing to this team with his bat. Not only is he a great first baseman, but you know what? And I love Paul Goldschmidt. I know him personally, right? I worked with him on his bowling tournament. He is better than Paul Goldschmidt. Period.
That
And
says a lot.
I'm talking about in clutch situations. Paul Goldschmidt is not a clutch player. He is not a good playoff player, and Walker has proven that he is.
Yeah. No, he rose to the occasion. He got a pitch in middle in, little above the belt, and he roped that thing into left center field and got the two pivotal runs that, obviously gave the D-backs the big cushion in game one.
Absolutely.
But again, it was amazing to see because he had been struggling. He has struggled, and he's a slugger. What are you're gonna strike out a lot. You're gonna get, but to see that success.
Well, he had what in the regular season? 33 homers, I believe, and 103 or 4 RBIs.
Yeah.
That's a great season. And you know what? He's had 2 great seasons in a row.
Yeah.
So it's no fluke. I could say if you do it one season, it's a fluke. But if you do it second, no, you're a star.
Yeah, no,
now,
yeah. Go ahead, Bo.
No,
I just was gonna say, I heard he was picked up on waivers, man. The Reds let him go. I can't believe that. And he was young, and the D-backs, picked him up on waivers and gave him an opportunity. And look, I didn't know that part.
Right.
I heard that.
You know what? I honestly didn't know that either. And I could imagine that Boston's probably kicking themselves right now. But hey, listen, it's good to see. It's good to see the Diamondbacks actually moving on.
Yeah,
it's good for Arizona baseball. We knew that this year we weren't expecting anything, right? We thought that they'd be good. We didn't think they'd make the playoffs. We really thought that next year was the year. But somehow they got into the playoffs, and they're a dangerous team, and you never know what happens. I just want to make one comment. Our buddy Bob Nightingale had written a story that his pick to win the World Series was the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, when I see you at Chase Field, I am going to remind you.
Yeah, no, with all due respect, Bob.
and listen, I had agreed with Bob Nightingale in the beginning that next year was the year for the Diamondbacks. This was great to see. And
it was.
84 wins is not a laughing matter, right?
No, not in the division they play in. They play in a pretty tough division.
And you talk about the spenders in our division, right? The Dodgers spend huge. The Padres are crazy nuts. San Francisco spends. Colorado doesn't. But the thing is, here you are competing. That's why you have to give not only Torrey credit, but you have to give Mike Hazen credit. And Mike Hazen was just extended in his contract 5 more years. He's through 2028. He's going to be here, and he's still going to continue to build this team because he has done. If they give awards, and I don't even know if they do for general managers, Brian.
Yeah.
But this guy would win it hands down because he has reconstructed the team. They've made them quick, fast, and exciting.
Yeah, all of the above. I agree. He's done a wonderful job, and to work in the shadow of a 1-year contract's got to be tough. But at the end of the day, I think that the D-backs understood the architect of this was obviously Mike Hazen and then the feeder staff underneath Mike. His assistants got hired back.
Absolutely.
All of the ones that they're not going to just peel him away from this team one by one until Mike's got nothing left to work with. So my hats off to Mike and the rest of the gang over there for getting that done. And you're right, he should be rewarded for his efforts because there were times, again, you and I have been tough on Mike Hayes and some of his lack thereof decisions or lack thereof, but at the same time, some of the things he's done has worked out. They've worked out well.
Right. Now they had just extended both these guys right before the All-Star break just for 1-year contracts.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Hazen and Lavello.
yeah.
You know, if Hazen gets that 5-year contract and extension, I think that Torrey should get more than a 1-year contract, and I think that they should renegotiate Torrey's contract. I
Yeah.
think that Torrey's been with this team. This is his 7th year, and it's hard to believe because I literally remember the day that he came in, and the first time that I actually met Torrey Lavello, and I have to tell the story, was at Paul Goldschmidt's charity bowling tournament. And we had he actually bowled. I actually hurt myself, believe it or not, on the first ball that on the first step that I took. I lifted up my left leg because I'm a predominantly right. I do bowl both hands, and I felt something in the back of my calf just
Oh
go.
no.
It just went. It popped. Okay,
Ah.
just by lifting up my leg, so I
Hmm.
couldn't bowl. But Torrey Lavello happened to be on the same lane, and we had the opportunity to talk for like 2 or 3 hours. Good
Nice.
guy, met his wife, and the thing is, and I told him all about myself, and he goes, yeah, he goes, well, and I told him my nickname was Kingpin and all that, and and he said, well, I hope to see you again. I said, well, you will. I said, because I happen to be one of the media members of the Diamondbacks, so you will see me a lot. And I remember the first conference that he came into in the regular season, and our buddy Steve Gilbert was sitting there, of course, with a bunch of other guys, and he sees me. He goes, "Hey, Kingpin," and I remember Steve Gilbert goes, "Wait, you know his nickname?" So
That's funny. Good. That
but
that sucks that you got hurt, but and at the end of the day, I would take that probably that injury to get those quality minutes with Lavello, especially the younger Lavello, the
yeah,
unseasoned one that had just started out here in Arizona. And but no, what an experience. I mean, but to have that relationship with him is important because you know the guy, you know what he's been through, the 110 losses in 2021, and the to see the last year's jump in excitement, and then this year to watch them go from where they went to where they had that really low, where they were about a 14%
yeah,
chance to make the playoffs in as in
right,
June or July, to
and
where they are today.
they showed that on TV, right? Both nights they showed the graph for fan graphs that we go out
We
to
use
and
them,
use
yeah,
as well,
yeah.
and they showed it how low their percentages were to make it, and then all the way up.
We're not going to correlate that with any decisions that were made in terms of any players that were released, any players that were brought up, any players that were put down. But there were some issues that went along the road that may have inhibited some of the play. But again, at the end of the day, Mike Hazen figured that out, and I think that all those issues were resolved. And what you see now is what you get. And frankly, what you see now is the Dodgers. You know,
Yep. Yeah,
the Dodgers.
the Dodgers are in front of us. Two teams that know each other very, very well.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if they've put out the starters as of yet for game number one, but I take it that Merrill Kelly will be starting now for the Diamondbacks. It only makes sense.
Yeah.
And then game number two very well could be game number two or game number three very well could be Zach Gallen. I don't know. Are they going to stick with Fott? I don't know this yet. And as we look ahead, and we will do probably another one of these as we look ahead or after a first game. But the thing is, both these teams know each other very well. If the Diamondbacks remind me right now of what they were, and I mentioned it earlier as well. They remind me of when they first started this season off, how they were running, hitting, and so forth.
Yeah.
And they gave the Dodgers fits that first week.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God, I have never seen the Dodgers play on
Yeah.
their heels the way that they did when they faced the Diamondbacks. And I don't expect it to be any different this time around.
Oh, hey, I'm all for that scenario. Let me tell you what you saw there. What I saw there was was age and enthusiasm versus experience, and this is going to be a long season. When those two combined at the beginning of the season, the D-backs just flat out worked the Dodgers, and that's what I saw. But then the last series at Chase, I saw more of a tired young team and an experienced team that saved some gas, that really put it to the D-backs. But now, at the end of the day, what I'm seeing are two baseball teams that in any given situation, one team, provided they have some of the things that they do well, go in their favor. Now, the Dodgers have a lot more opportunity because they do a lot more well. But if the D-backs can do some of those things that they did early in the season, and the team that we know they can be, I think they have a shot. Win one in LA, come back, win one in Phoenix. Let's go back to LA and win game 5, and let's go on to the next series. That would be a perfect scenario for me. It's going to go 5 in my book. Anything short of that, I'd be shocked. But let me tell you what Zach Gallen said. I don't think it's any secret that the Dodgers have had the division's number, had our number. I think that we also showed a growth in the sense of the mindset and the culture change here of being able to go into Dodger Stadium and hang with them. That's Zach Gallen. He's one of the leaders. So if the leader on the team feels that way, I would imagine that that's rubbing off on the balance of the team. And they're not afraid. And frankly, Bob, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. But in this 2013 incident where the Dodgers came into Chase and they did something and they went swimming in the pool, and they reports of them peeing in the pool. I haven't forgotten that. And frankly, there's a lot of bad blood between the Dodgers and the D-backs, and there's a lot of rivalry there. And I think that we need to look at it that way. I don't think that there's not. I don't want any violence. I don't want any of that. I don't condone that. But I do encourage some spirited, competitive discussions between D-backs fans and Dodgers fans, D-backs analysts and Dodgers analysts. Constructive, but nonetheless respectable. This isn't a David versus Goliath like most people see. What I see is two boxers, both able to knock each other out. One has got a lot more experience than the other, but that young one's got some things that the older or experienced fighter has not seen yet. Who knows? And when they do say that, can they contain it? That's what I'm wondering. And I don't want to correlate this to a boxing match, but at the end of the day, that's what the D-backs have to get into, a boxing match. Round by round.
I'm sitting here thinking, how I always try to think and analyze. And, the Diamondbacks have this young team. And I'm thinking, do they still have the energy left? And is it because they're so young? I mean, this team, you take a look at it up and down, they're young. I mean, except for like Longoria. I mean, how old is Christian Walker? He's still early 30s?
Early 30s, yeah.
Early 30s. Yeah. But you got a bunch of 22 and 23-year-olds that are starting on this team. They've got the energy left, and they've already played 164 games.
Look, man, I watched an 18-year-old Mike Tyson go through the heavyweight ranks and just level everybody because he was fast and he was strong and he had the talent. He didn't have the experience that Larry Holmes had, but he certainly had the power to knock him out. And Larry Holmes couldn't contain that. So I don't care. You take certain elements of sport and you embrace the experience, and you embrace the fact that, hey, I've been here before and done that. But at the same time, don't undervalue a team that hasn't been there and done that, because this is their chance and they know it. And I think that based on what I love Coach Lovello's enthusiasm, but what I'm hearing from him and seeing in that dugout is this is our opportunity. This didn't come easy. Let's not drop the ball here. Go out and play with some heart. And if we lose, we're going to lose fighting, period. Right. And I don't think they're going to lose, frankly, Bob, but let's see.
Right. And I wonder if the Dodgers are going to come out overconfident. And what I mean by that, I remember I go back to the 2003 World Series, which was the Marlins and the Yankees. And I remember being at Yankee Stadium on the field, and I just remember how, and I'm talking about in batting practice, in pregame, how cocky the New York Yankees were. Okay. And here, the Marlins won that World Series, and so my thinking is, listen, the thing is, the Dodgers are not a young team, and they are not young. And you're talking about guys in the lineup. Like, listen, are the effects? Granted, they've had a couple of days off now, and that's not always good in baseball to have that many days off before playing again. Can the Diamondbacks maybe get in there on game one and take it to them and win that first game? Because they win that first game, look out, Dodgers.
Look out, everybody. But
Yeah,
believe that.
exactly.
Believe that. Absolutely. 100%.
Exactly.
I agree with you on that one, Bob. 100%. I think game one's pivotal. Merrill Kelly's fresh, or I think the D-backs have a really good opportunity to go out and take care of business. And again, and you're spot on with the with some of the analysis as it relates to the age of the players on the dot. They are older, but again, this is going to come down to me anyway. Who wants it most? Not, and we'll see. They're both in the playoffs. They're both very talented. Regular season is behind us, and of course, we know how well the D-backs played, and sometimes and how well they didn't play against the Dodgers. But that's behind us, and now we got this 5-game series in front of us, and I'm looking forward to calling it. So, Bob, I guess next time you and I see each other will be at Chase Field next Tuesday night for Game 3, one way or the other.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Not unless you're going to come out to the Arizona Fall League. Don't forget about that.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget about that, fans. I plan on being out there, and if some of our fans are out there, you see me, you come up and say hello. But we are going to, well, I don't know if Brian will come on out, but Friday night, I will be out at Salt River Fields watching the Salt River Rafters take on, I'm not sure who the heck they're taking on. I'm not sure if it's Mesa or not, but the thing is, the Salt River Rafters, one of the, what are there, 5 teams involved are the Arizona Diamondbacks. And of course, all eyes will be on the Hispanic Titanic, who we've interviewed, Brian and myself, just about a week ago. And, I know he's got an RBI already. I know that they have a losing record, big deal, 1-2 or whatever, 1-3. It doesn't matter. No. It doesn't matter what that is. What they're all gaining there is experience. And, I really think that our buddy there, Ivan Melendez, might get a hard look come in the spring.
Play against some really good competition, Bob. A lot of these kids are going to be young players, not kids. To me, they're kids, but they're going to make it someday in the major leagues. At the major league level, they're going to break in, get the patch on their arm, be one of the break-in major league debuts. Definitely, a lot of. So I encourage everybody to get a chance to go out there and say hi to Bob, or if you see me, say hi. But I'm going to do my best to. I'm going to cover Major League Baseball until the end of the season as best I can, and I'm going to go out and cover some Arizona Fall League because, frankly, the weather is so nice, and it's only like $12, $10 to get in. So I encourage those that can be there to be there. But short of that, Bob, all I can say is, I'm not a homer, but go D-backs. Go D-backs.
Exactly. Let's see them. All I want to do is see them play competitive. Win or lose, I just want to see them give their all-out effort. You get beat, you get beat.
Go out swinging.
That's it.
All right, let's wrap her up, Bob.
All right, man. I guess I'll do that today. This is Bob Kingpin Eres, along with my broadcast partner over there, Brian Cano Sr. Everybody, let's say go D-backs as we take on the Dodgers starting. Is that Saturday night there, Brian?
Saturday night.
Saturday night. All right, everybody, have a good one. Take care.